It began as a normal morning. The sun rose slowly, shining over calm oceans and crowded cities. Children laughed on their way to school. People rushed to work, holding coffee cups and dreams that seemed so small under the endless blue sky. No one knew that this would be the last normal sunrise Earth would ever see. At first, it was only a faint light, something silver glimmering high above the clouds. Some people thought it was a comet. Others said it was a new satellite. But as the hours passed, the silver lines grew darker, stretching across the heavens like deep scars. Birds scattered. Radios began to crackle. Airplanes vanished from radar screens. Then at noon, the sky broke open. Massive shadows descended from the clouds, enormous ships that covered the sun itself. The world froze. Every person from deserts to mountain peaks looked up. Some cried. Some filmed with shaking hands. But no one could understand what they were seeing. The ships hung silent and still like monsters waiting to strike. Then came a voice, cold, mechanical, and terrifyingly calm. It spoke through every device on Earth in perfect English. People of Earth, you are now under the dominion of the Galactic Empire of Dravik. Surrender your governments, your weapons, and your resistance. Serve and you will be spared. The message repeated 3 times. Then everything went quiet. In that silence, humanity felt small. Streets were empty, hearts heavy. Families gathered together, watching the dark ships that floated above their homes like watching eyes. It didn't feel real. Yet deep down, everyone knew it was. World leaders held emergency meetings. Some shouted for peace, some demanded war, but none truly understood what they faced. The Empire's ships were the size of cities, their armor shining like liquid steel. No human weapon could even scratch them. Far above Earth, in the largest ship of the fleet, High Admiral Vrax stood before a massive window. His skin shimmered like obsidian, his eyes sharp as cold stars. He had conquered worlds before, hundreds of them. He didn't see Earth as a home of intelligent life. He saw it as a resource, a planet full of minerals, water, and fuel. Primitive world, he said to his officers, soft and emotional. They will fall fast. Vrax had no idea what kind of fire slept inside the human heart. Beneath the Rocky Mountains in a secret underground base, chaos filled the control rooms. Alarms flashed red. The military's communication systems were collapsing under alien interference. But in the middle of all the confusion stood Dr. Elena Reyes, a young scientist with tired eyes and a mind sharper than steel. She stared at the screens showing the alien ships. Her hands trembled, but her voice didn't. They're shutting down our satellites. They're scanning every power grid on the planet. They're mapping us, she said softly. Beside her, General Marcus Hale, a man of iron discipline, gritted his teeth. Let them map, he said. We'll fight them with everything we've got. Elena turned to him. General, you don't understand. If we fight them head-on, humanity will be gone in hours. Then what do you suggest? He snapped. She took a deep breath. We send the signal. For a moment, he said nothing. The room went silent except for the hum of machines. The signal was a myth to most. A strange frequency found deep within Earth's magnetic field, buried in old classified records. Some believed it was a leftover code from a forgotten experiment. Others whispered it came from something not human. You really believe in that old legend? Hale asked. Elena looked him in the eye. I don't just believe it, sir. I helped decode it, and I think it was meant for this day. Outside, the first explosion shook the cities. Alien drones descended like silver rain, vaporizing tanks, cutting through jets as if they were paper. Humanity's defenses fell apart in minutes. Screams echoed through burning streets. Vrax watched from his ship with cold satisfaction. Predictable, he said. They always resist before kneeling. But deep beneath the mountains, Elena Reyes pressed her hand on a console glowing faint blue. A series of symbols appeared, ancient, unreadable, pulsing like a heartbeat. Once I send this, she whispered, there's no turning back. General Hale placed his hand on her shoulder. Do it. If this is our last chance, let it count. Elena pressed the button. A pulse of invisible energy surged through the Earth's magnetic field. It spread like wind through water, racing past the atmosphere, beyond the moon, beyond the reach of alien sensors. It carried one message, one simple call for help. Far away in the endless dark between galaxies, something ancient stirred. Long ago, before humanity even walked upright, a promise had been made, a pact buried in Earth's history, forgotten by time. And now, after thousands of years, the signal had been sent again. For the Galactic Empire of Dravik, it was just another conquest. For humanity, it was the beginning of something far greater. They didn't know it yet, but the universe had just heard Earth's warning. For hours after Dr. Elena Reyes sent the signal, the Earth burned. Cities became firestorms. The alien ships hovered above the planet like angry gods, striking anything that moved. Missiles rose from military bases, but they never reached their targets. The sky glowed red. The ocean steamed. Humanity's defenses fell like paper walls in a storm. High Admiral Vrax watched the destruction from the command bridge of his flagship. The giant windows of his ship reflected the chaos below. "End it quickly," he ordered. "We have wasted enough time on this world." His officers obeyed, sending fleets of drones to finish the job. To the Empire, Earth was already conquered. But deep underground, far below the fires and screams, Elena's signal continued to spread across space, an invisible whisper racing through the void. No one on Earth knew where it went, not even Elena. All she knew was that she had done what the legends demanded. She sat in the dim control room, her face lit by blinking lights and dying monitors. Around her, the power hummed weakly, as if the mountain itself was breathing. General Marcus Hale entered the room, his uniform torn, his face covered in dust. "Anything?" he asked, his voice heavy. Elena shook her head. "Not yet. The signal's gone beyond our reach. If it worked, we'll know soon." Hale sat beside her. The walls trembled from distant explosions. "I don't know what you believe in, Doctor, but I hope you're right. Because right now the world has nothing left to fight with." Elena's eyes filled with tears she didn't want to show. "My grandmother used to tell stories about the first people, about something that watched over us from the stars. She said one day, when the sky turns dark with strangers, Earth must call them. I used to think it was just a myth." The general looked at her quietly. "Maybe myths start from truth. Outside in the cities, people hid wherever they could. Underground shelters, tunnels, old basements. Families clung together, praying for mercy. Soldiers fought even when there was no chance to win. Humanity had been broken but not silenced. And far beyond the solar system, the signal reached its destination. In the cold depths of another galaxy, inside a space older than time, a giant sphere of light began to glow. Around it drifted enormous structures, machines that looked both alive and ancient. They had slept for eons, watching silently over distant worlds. One of them awakened fully now. It was a being made of light and metal, tall as mountains, its voice deep and filled with memory. It spoke in a language that no human could hear, but the meaning rippled through space. The children of Earth call once more. Others awakened too. Beings of the old alliance, protectors of young worlds created long before the Galactic Empire was born. They remembered Earth. They remembered the last war, when humanity's ancestors had helped them in a battle that almost destroyed the stars themselves. Now, the time for repayment had come. A golden gate opened in the void, an ancient wormhole older than any empire. A fleet of silver and white ships emerged from it, each one glowing like a small sun. They were silent, but their presence alone made the space around them tremble. Their leader, a being named Seraphis, watched Earth's star flicker in the distance. "So it begins again," they whispered. "The promise will be kept." Back on Earth, Admiral Vrax's sensors started to detect strange energy signatures. His officers stared in confusion. "Admiral," one said, "we're picking up something massive. It's coming from beyond the outer system." Vrax frowned. "Reinforcements? Impossible. No other Empire fleet was scheduled." "It's not ours, sir." Vrax turned sharply. "Then who?" Before he could finish, a blinding light appeared in the far reaches of the solar system. Every Dravik ship turned their scanners toward it. What they saw made even their war-hardened hearts hesitate. A new fleet was entering the system, fast, silent, and impossibly bright. The first blast hit one of the Dravik cruisers orbiting Mars. There was no sound, only a sudden flash, and the entire ship vanished, turned to dust. "What was that?" shouted one of the officers. Vrax's black eyes narrowed. "Find out who they are now," but there was no time. One by one, the alien ships began to appear in Earth's orbit, forming a shining wall between the planet and the Empire's fleet. Humanity's burning world was suddenly shadowed by lights of hope. Down in the mountain base, Elena's monitors flickered. The signal map lit up with new contacts, hundreds of them. She gasped. "General," someone answered. Hale looked up at the screens, his eyes widening as he saw the impossible. "My God," he whispered. They came. Outside people looked to the sky through smoke and tears. Among the dark ships of the Empire, new lights glowed, gentle, golden, and full of power. For the first time in days, the world dared to breathe again. The forgotten pact had been remembered, and the Galactic Empire of Dravik had just met humanity's oldest allies. The sky above Earth was no longer just filled with destruction. It shimmered with light. Golden streaks cut across the heavens, weaving between the dark warships of the Galactic Empire. Where those lights touched, fire vanished. The thick smoke parted as if afraid. People hiding in shattered buildings stepped out, shielding their eyes, trying to understand what they were seeing. In every corner of the world, news broadcasts struggled to describe it. "Unknown objects are entering the atmosphere," one reporter whispered through static. They're not attacking us. They're protecting us." General Marcus Hale stood beside Dr. Elena Reyes inside the mountain base, both staring at the radar screen. It was glowing brighter by the second, those signals, Hale murmured. "There are hundreds of them." Elena's heart pounded. "No," she said softly. "There are thousands." On the screen she could see the new ships surrounding Earth like a vast shield. Each vessel glowed with soft white energy, shaped like wings, fluid and graceful. They looked nothing like the metallic monsters of the Empire. These ships moved like living creatures, quiet, elegant, purposeful. Then one of them descended through the clouds. People across Europe saw it first, a glowing silver ship landing gently in a burning field. Its light dimmed until its form became clear. From within it stepped a being tall and radiant, neither male nor female, with eyes like twin suns and armor made of shimmering crystal. The being looked around the scorched land, the flames reflecting in its bright eyes. When it spoke, its voice carried through the air like a song. "Children of Earth, you called and we have come." The crowd that had gathered nearby dropped to their knees, not in worship but in awe. One soldier whispered, "Are you angels?" The being smiled faintly. "We are the guardians of the first dawn. Long ago your ancestors made a promise with us to protect this world when the Dark Ones return. That day has come." Far above, High Admiral Varax stared at the holographic feed from his scouts. The images showed dozens of new ships appearing from nothing, forming barriers of energy between his fleet and Earth. "What are they?" one officer shouted. "Their power levels are off the charts." Vrax's jaw tightened. "Attack formation. No outsiders interfere with Dravik conquest." The Empire's ships opened fire. Blue plasma storms roared toward the shining fleet, but before they could hit, the energy bursts dissolved like mist against invisible shields. The Guardians answered, not with violence, but with precision. From their vessels came beams of pure light that didn't explode. Instead, they unmade. One by one, the Empire's drones vanished, erased as though they had never existed. In seconds, half the Dravik fleet was gone. On the flagship, Vrax slammed his clawed hand against the console. "Impossible. Identify their technology." "Unknown energy signatures," an officer stammered. "It's older than any known civilization." Vrax's eyes narrowed. "Older?" He turned toward the image of Earth floating above the table. "So that's why this world was forbidden." The legends were true. While the battle raged in the sky, Elena Reyes stood silent, watching the lights from the surface. The air outside the mountain shimmered as fragments of energy fell like golden rain. She whispered, "They really came. The Guardians are real." General Hale crossed his arms, his rough face softening for the first time in days. "Then we're not fighting alone anymore." Suddenly a voice filled the base, not through speakers but inside their minds. It was calm and warm, like sunlight touching skin. "Dr. Elena Reyes, we hear you." Elena gasped. Who are you?" "We are Seraphis, first of the Guardians." "You carry the knowledge of the ancient pact. You are the key to awakening the full defense of your world." She trembled. "I don't understand." "You will. But you must stand with us. Earth's heart still sleeps. Awaken it, and no empire shall touch this planet again." The voice faded. Hale turned to her. "What did they say?" Elena looked up with wide eyes. "They said Earth itself has something inside it, something powerful. They called it the heart." The general frowned. "Then we find it." "Before the aliens do." Above, the battle grew fiercer. The Guardians and the Empire clashed across the sky like gods in war. Lightning filled the clouds. Cities shook from the force of it. Yet amidst all that fury, people felt something strange: hope. Children pointed at the glowing ships. Old men cried. Soldiers who had given up began to fight again. Humanity, fragile and scarred, started to rise. High Admiral Vrax watched in fury as his forces fell one by one. He turned to his second-in-command. "Prepare the desolator," he growled. "If we cannot claim Earth, we will burn it to ash." The officer hesitated. "But sir, the Guardians—" Vrax slammed his fist down. "Do it. No one defies the Empire." Down below, Elena didn't know what the desolator was, but the fear in the data coming from the orbiting satellites told her enough. "They're preparing something catastrophic," she said. "If they fire that, the whole planet could die." The general's eyes hardened. "Then it's time to wake up that heart." As thunder rolled through the burning clouds and ancient ships of light fought against the machines of darkness, one thing became clear: Earth was no longer the prey. It was awakening, and for the first time in history, the universe would see what humanity could truly become. The world trembled under the weight of war. Above the clouds, the battle between the Guardians and the Galactic Empire raged like a storm of gods. Golden lights clashed against blue lightning, and the sound of explosions rolled like endless thunder. Cities shook. Mountains cracked. Yet in the chaos, hope had returned to humanity's eyes. For the first time since the invasion began, people no longer looked up in fear, they looked up in faith. In the secret mountain base, Dr. Elena Reyes and General Marcus Hale worked with a desperate energy. The Guardian's words echoed in Elena's mind. Earth's heart still sleeps. Awaken it. She didn't know what the heart was, but she could feel it. Somewhere deep within the Earth, a pulse was waiting. Her machines began to pick up strange readings, low vibrations, rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. Elena ran her hands across the glowing console. "It's here," she whispered. Something beneath the planet's crust. "It's alive." General Hale leaned over her shoulder. "You're telling me the Earth is alive?" She hesitated, then nodded slowly. "Not alive like us, but something ancient lies inside it. Maybe it was placed there long ago as part of the pact." Hale frowned. "Then we wake it up, how?" Before she could answer, the mountain shook violently. Alarms blared. The lights flickered. Hale rushed to a nearby monitor. Outside, one of the Empire's ships was descending through the clouds. "Breaking through the Guardians' defenses, they're coming for us," he growled. Elena's eyes widened. They must know about the heart. Above the base, the air screamed as alien crafts landed on the snowy slopes. Soldiers in dark armor poured out, their eyes glowing like cold fire. They moved with perfect precision, weapons humming with blue energy. Hale grabbed his rifle and turned to his team. "Hold the line. No one gets to Reyes, no one." Elena kept working, her hands trembling but steady. The screen before her displayed old files, ancient data fragments passed down through generations. It spoke of something called Project Gaia, an energy core buried in the planet millions of years ago, meant to awaken only if Earth faced extinction. "Project Gaia," she whispered. "That's it. That's the heart." Through the communicator, the voice of Seraphis, leader of the Guardians, echoed in her mind. "Dr. Reyes, we are losing ground. The Empire prepares their desolator weapon. You must awaken the heart now." "I'm trying," she replied, "but I need a power source strong enough to unlock it." "Use your world," Seraphis said softly. "Use its people. The heart responds to will, not machines," her breath caught. "Human will?" "Yes, the same strength that defies fear, that rises after every fall. That is your power." Elena looked at the general. "Sir, I need to connect every communication network left. I need to reach the people." He hesitated. "You want to talk to the whole world?" "Now," she nodded fiercely. "If Earth is going to survive, it has to awaken together." Hale stared at her for a moment, then slammed his hand on the console. "Do it." Moments later, screens across the planet flickered to life. Amidst chaos and smoke, a trembling voice reached every ear, from bunkers to shelters to ships lost at sea. "This is Dr. Elena Reyes," she said. "If you can hear me, don't give up. The Earth is not dead. It's listening. I need you to believe in yourself, in this planet, in each other. Every heartbeat, every hope matters now." Around the world, people stopped running. A child clutching her mother's hand in a burning city looked up. Soldiers paused in ruined streets. Even dying men and women whispered silently, believing. And deep within the planet's core, something stirred. The ground trembled softly at first. Then it grew stronger, like the slow breath of a giant awakening. Crystals formed in the rock, glowing faint blue. Rivers shimmered with light. The air filled with a deep hum that echoed through mountains and oceans alike. Elena's eyes filled with tears as the readings spiked. "It's working," she whispered. "They're answering." Outside, the invading Dravik soldiers were suddenly thrown back by invisible force. The snow lifted in waves of light. The mountain glowed beneath their feet. From orbit, even Admiral Vrak saw it. The planet itself was shining. "What is that?" he demanded. His officers stared in horror. "Energy levels are rising beyond measurable limits." "Destroy it," Vrax roared. "Fire everything." Beams of plasma rained down from the Empire's ships, but they vanished before touching the ground. The light of the heart grew brighter, spreading across continents. Volcanoes erupted with golden fire. Forests bloomed again in seconds. Oceans shimmered as if made of stars. And then, the voice of Seraphis thundered through the skies. "The heart of Earth has awakened. Your Empire's reign ends here." Vrax's ships shook as the energy wave hit them. Their shields shattered. Systems failed. In seconds, dozens of ships exploded like dying stars. Elena collapsed to her knees, exhausted, watching the light spread. General Hale caught her before she fell. "You did it," he said softly. "You woke her up." She smiled weakly. "No, we did." The planet was alive now, breathing, burning, defending. And for the first time, the Galactic Empire realized what kind of world they had tried to conquer. Earth was no longer prey. Earth was awake. The Earth was no longer dying. It was fighting back. Golden light spread across continents like rivers of fire. The oceans glowed from beneath, and the winds howled with energy. Mountains cracked open, not with destruction but with life, pouring streams of radiant energy into the skies. Above, the fleet of the Galactic Empire began to fall apart. High Admiral Vrax watched in disbelief from the bridge of his flagship. "What is happening to this planet?" he shouted. His officers scrambled over their consoles. "Sir, gravitational. Fields are changing. Our systems are failing. Every frequency is jammed." On his screen, the blue glow of Earth grew brighter, like the planet had become a star. Waves of energy pulsed outward, each one stronger than the last. Ships that came too close crumbled into dust, their metal melting into the void. Vrax slammed his fist on the table. "No world has ever done this. What is that energy?" His science officer turned to him, face pale. "It's alive, Admiral. The planet is alive." Vrax's expression turned dark. "Then we kill it." He pointed toward the massive weapon at the center of his fleet, the Desolator, a cannon built to destroy entire worlds. It was his final weapon, forbidden by most of the Empire. But Vrax no longer cared about rules. "Charge the Desolator," he ordered. "If Earth refuses to surrender, we erase it." Far below, in the mountain base, Dr. Elena Reyes and General Marcus Hale watched the readings spike across their screens. The planet's pulse had become a heartbeat so strong it shook the walls. Elena's voice trembled. "The heart is fully awake. It's aware of everything. The Earth knows who its enemies are." Outside, lightning struck the sky. Only this lightning was not from clouds. It was made of glowing light, rising from the ground toward the heavens like a living storm. Alien ships tried to escape, but the sky itself seemed to pull them down. On the battlefield, the Guardians fought alongside humanity. Their ships glided through fire, protecting cities and shielding people from falling debris. Seraphis, their radiant leader, stood on the surface now, glowing like a sun amid ruin. He looked at Elena through the storm and spoke into her mind. "The Earth remembers. The pact is whole again." Elena felt tears roll down her cheeks. "Can it stop them?" "Yes," Seraphis replied. "But it needs direction. You are the link. Guide its wrath." She closed her eyes and touched the console glowing before her. "Then I'll help it see." Through her hands, the Earth's power connected with her mind. She could feel it. The pulse of oceans, the whisper of trees, the deep burning heart of magma below. It wasn't just energy, it was emotion, anger, sorrow, and fierce love. For every human life lost, the planet cried. For every child still breathing, it roared. From space, the Earth's light turned into a halo. The oceans rose into spirals of glowing mist. Massive shards of crystal erupted from the surface, forming patterns that looked almost like symbols. Messages written in light across the planet's skin. Vrax stared at the sight, his face twisted in fury. "Fire the Desolator, now!" His crew obeyed. The enormous cannon began to charge, gathering dark energy, pulling power from nearby stars. The weapon glowed like a black sun, aimed straight at Earth. "Let's see your planet survive this," he hissed. Elena saw it on the monitors. The Desolator, ready to fire. She felt fear rise in her chest. "Seraphis, if that weapon hits, it's over." "Then we must trust your world," said the Guardian calmly. "Show them who we are." Elena took a deep breath and whispered, "Earth, now." The planet answered. A massive column of light erupted from its core, shooting through the atmosphere into space. It struck the Desolator before it could fire. The blast was silent, but absolute. The shockwaves shattered the weapon in an instant, tearing through the Empire's fleet like wind through smoke. In seconds, hundreds of ships exploded. The darkness that once filled the sky vanished into golden light. On the ground, people everywhere saw it. The stars returning, the night sky clearing, the terrible shadows gone. Cheers and tears filled the air. Strangers hugged one another. Hope, which had almost died, was alive again. High Admiral Vrax's ship was crippled. The bridge was burning. He stumbled forward, staring at the glowing Earth. This can't be real." The image of Seraphis appeared before him, bright and calm. "You were warned," said the Guardian. "This world is protected," Vrax snarled. "You think you've won? The Empire will return." "Then we will be waiting," Seraphis replied. With that, the light engulfed Vrax's ship. The last thing he saw was the blue glow of Earth before everything went white. In the silence that followed, space was calm again. The war was over. Elena stood beside General Hale on the mountain ridge, looking at the horizon glowing softly under the stars. The world was scarred, but alive. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Hale nodded. "She fought for us, we just needed to believe." Elena looked up, her eyes shining. "We gave Earth a warning to send. But maybe it was also a warning to the universe." Far above them, the Guardians floated in orbit like silver sentinels. Seraphis looked down upon the planet that had once been asleep and smiled. "The heart of Earth beats again. Let them all remember. This world is not to be touched." And in that moment, every star in the sky seemed to shimmer brighter, as if the universe itself was bowing to the blue planet that had refused to die. The war was over. But silence had a strange sound to it now. For the first time in months, the skies above Earth were clear. The black smoke had faded, replaced by sunlight that felt warm again, not cruel. Birds returned to broken cities. Rivers, once filled with ash, began to flow blue. People came out from their shelters, eyes wide, faces pale, hands trembling. They saw ruins where towers once stood, but they also saw something else: life. Green vines grew along shattered walls, flowers bloomed through cracked stone, and the air smelled like rain after a long drought. General Marcus Hale stood on the remains of the old command center, overlooking what used to be Washington. The city was quiet, peaceful in its scars. He looked exhausted, his uniform torn, his voice tired, but there was a strange calm in his chest. Dr. Elena Reyes stood beside him, holding a data tablet glowing faintly. "It's incredible," she whispered. "The heart of Earth didn't just save us. It's healing us." Hale turned his eyes to the horizon. "I don't understand how, but I'll take it." From the mountains to the coasts, reports flooded in. The oceans had stabilized. Radiation had vanished. Crops were sprouting from dead soil. It was as if the planet had decided to forgive its children, but not all was peaceful. Above, the remains of the galactic fleet still floated in orbit, silent metal graves glimmering under sunlight. Their destruction was total, yet their presence was a reminder. Earth had been targeted. The Empire might come again. Elena knew it. She could feel it. The war was only the beginning of something far larger. That night, as the stars began to shine again, Elena sat by a small campfire with survivors. There were families, soldiers, children, all gathered close together listening to the crackle of the flames. A little girl sat beside her, clutching a torn teddy bear. "Miss Elena," she asked softly, "is Earth angry at us?" Elena smiled gently. "No, sweetheart, she's not angry. She's awake now, and she's watching over us." The child smiled faintly. "Like a mom?" Elena nodded. "Yes, just like a mother." The fire reflected in her eyes as she looked toward the night sky. High above, faint golden lights shimmered, the Guardians still orbiting Earth like stars that refused to leave. Seraphis stood among them, his wings folded in silence. His eyes watched the small planet below, glowing faintly in the blackness of space. Another Guardian approached him. "The humans are rebuilding," she said. "Do we stay?" Seraphis looked down for a long moment. "Not forever. The heart has found its voice again. It no longer needs us to speak for it. And the Empire?" He turned toward the distant stars where the remains of the Empire's signal beacons blinked faintly in the void. "They will come again, but next time they will remember what this world truly is." Below, humanity worked together like never before. Soldiers shared food with scientists, strangers built homes for one another, and no one spoke of nations or borders anymore. For once, Earth felt united, not by war but by survival. General Hale spent his days helping rebuild shelters, his hands dirty, his uniform forgotten. Elena worked beside him, her once sleek hair now tangled, her clothes worn but her heart full. They laughed sometimes, small, quiet laughs that felt strange at first but real. Every night, she returned to the old lab to study the readings of the heart. It pulsed gently now, like a heartbeat in sync with humanity's own. One night, while she worked, the console flickered and a soft voice spoke in her mind. "It was Seraphis, Elena Reyes," he said, calm as moonlight. "The Earth wishes to speak to you." She froze. "To me? You were its voice in the storm. You helped it remember. It trusts you." The air shimmered and Elena felt warmth surround her. She closed her eyes and for a moment she saw visions. She saw ancient forests, oceans of light, and a time when the Earth had sung with life before humans were ever born. She saw how the Guardians were created, beings made from the stars, sworn to protect worlds that carried the gift of life. Then she saw something that made her heart stop. The same golden energy that lived inside Earth was spreading. Lines of light stretched from Earth into deep space, connecting to other planets, some dim, some bright. It was a network, a hidden lifeline between living worlds. Elena gasped. "We're not alone." "No," Seraphis said softly. "You never were. The heart of Earth is part of something far greater, a bond between worlds that remember what life truly means." Elena opened her eyes, trembling. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because when the Empire returns," Seraphis said, "it won't just be Earth that stands against them. Every world that breathes, every soul that remembers will rise." She felt tears fall down her cheeks, not from fear but from awe. "Then this was the first warning." "Yes," Seraphis replied, his light fading slowly, and the universe heard it. As dawn broke, golden light spilled over the horizon. Cities shimmered under the morning sun, rebuilt with hope. Children played where craters once scarred the ground. Humanity had been tested and nearly destroyed, but in surviving they had discovered something deeper, a bond not just with their planet, but with life itself. Elena stood by the ruins of the old command center, wind in her hair, watching the sunrise. "We were never just fighting for Earth," she whispered. "We were fighting for everything that lives." And somewhere, deep in the Earth's heart, a soft pulse answered. Steady, proud, eternal. Months passed since the battle that changed everything. Earth was alive again, bruised but breathing. The people who had once looked up in fear now gazed at the stars with quiet strength. But far across the galaxy, The Galactic Empire was not silent. Inside the great citadel of Vorlax Prime, the High Council gathered in rage. The holograms of shattered ships flickered before them, their pride burned into dust by a world they had once called primitive. One counselor slammed his clawed hand against the table. A single planet destroyed an entire fleet? How is that possible? Another hissed. They were warned. High Admiral Vrax underestimated them. The Emperor sat in the shadows, his glowing eyes fixed on the image of Earth. This world has something ancient, something that does not belong to them. The heart of life. The chamber fell silent. The Emperor's voice was low but cold. Prepare the armada. We will take it for ourselves. But before any order was given, the lights in the hall began to flicker. The air shimmered with energy. A sound like thunder echoed through their minds, not from outside but from everywhere. Then a voice spoke, calm, powerful, unmistakable. This is Earth, the world you tried to burn. Every counselor froze. The Emperor rose slowly, eyes narrowing. We gave you one warning, the voice continued. You ignored it. The hologram of Earth appeared in the center of the chamber, glowing blue and alive. Around it, tiny orbs of light appeared, other planets, other worlds pulsing with the same golden energy. We are not alone anymore, the voice said. Every living world stands with us. If you come again, the stars themselves will turn against you. The lights exploded in brilliance, and for the first time in centuries, the mighty empire felt fear. The warning spread like fire through space, through trade routes, through colonies, through secret networks. In days, every civilization in the galaxy had heard it. Some mocked it, others listened, but all felt the same tremor in their hearts. The humans had awakened something no empire could control. On Earth, humanity began a new chapter. The ruins had turned into centers of learning. The same labs that once built weapons now built starships. Not for war, but for exploration, for connection. Dr. Elena Reyes walked across the new Earth Unity Launch Center, her coat fluttering in the wind. Workers were preparing the first human starship, the Dawn Voyager, its hull lined with glowing veins of light drawn from the heart's energy. General Marcus Hale stood beside her, older but smiling. Hard to believe, he said. A year ago we were fighting for our lives. Now we're flying to the stars. Elena nodded softly. It's what she wanted, he frowned. She? Elena smiled. Earth, the heart. She doesn't just want to protect us anymore. She wants us to grow. They looked up at the massive ship, its engines humming softly, its light reflecting the morning sun. Humanity was ready to reach out, to find the other worlds connected through that ancient bond. That night, under a sky full of stars, Elena stood alone by the ocean. The waves glowed faintly with golden light as if whispering secrets. Seraphis, she said softly. Are you still there? A voice answered, gentle as wind. Always. The guardian appeared before her, radiant and calm. His wings shimmered like starlight. You have done well, Elena Reyes. The heart of Earth sings again because of you. Elena smiled, tears in her eyes. It wasn't just me. Humanity changed. We remembered who we are. Yes, Seraphis said. And soon you will remember more. There are others like you, worlds that need hope. You will find them. Elena looked toward the horizon where the first human ship waited. We will, but will they accept us? They will, when they see your light, Seraphis replied. He reached out his hand, and from it fell a small crystal of golden energy. It floated before her heart, glowing like a tiny star. This will guide you, he said. When the darkness rises again, and it will, remember this light. Elena held the crystal close. Will we ever see you again? Seraphis smiled softly. You won't need to. You are now what we once were, the guardians of life. With that, his light faded, merging with the starlit sky. The next morning, humanity watched as the Dawn Voyager lifted into the heavens. Engines roared like thunder, and trails of golden light followed behind it. People cheered. Some wept. For the first time, humans were not running from the stars. They were walking toward them. Elena stood with Marcus, watching the ship disappear into the sky. Do you think we're ready? He asked. She looked at the light fading into the clouds and smiled. We're not just ready, she said softly. We were born for this. High above, as the ship crossed into space, Earth's glow followed. a soft pulse like a mother's heartbeat guiding her children into the unknown. And across the galaxy, in 1,000 worlds that still whispered in fear of the Empire, small lights began to awaken, worlds remembering their own hearts, rising together. The universe had changed forever, because when the Galactic Empire targeted Earth, they didn't just meet a planet, they met life itself, and that life had only given one warning, a warning that echoed in every star, every world, every living soul. Do not touch this world again.